Hey Internet, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Jongravesshow. I'm just giving everybody a little bit of Steam news. Antiscam Curator group seeks to police game devs, and as far as I know, I think that's what correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's what we all already did anyway. Especially since when we wanted companies to give us quality shit. We would tell them yeah, we want quality shit. I know that a lot of gamers, and I have been guilty of this in the past, of pretty much going back and talking about the earlier days of gaming and saying that those times were better because what you saw is what you got. You rarely ran into a scammer or somebody who would up a game, or at least hype a game early in the Super Nintendo, Sega N64, PS1 days, where or fucking God forbid, man, not so much Sega Saturn, because not too many people really cared about that system at that time, even though it did sort of make a few sales. Not a lot of people really were on top of that game. Same thing with the Sega CD and the 32X. Just saying. Dreamcast to me was a very wonderful system, even though it was an arcade simulator, or at least it was an arcade emulator. But even with that though, and along with the PlayStation 2, around those points you rarely ran into a scammer or people who would sell you half-finished games, or better yet, let me just say it like this: you would rarely run into a lot of terrible games. Well, you may have run into way more, but the chances of running into a quickly rushed, fucked up game were, I would say the chances of that were a lot lower than what you would have to deal with now, especially since Steam's entire thing sort of had early access and green light and all the rest of that other shit. All that pretty much was they can pretty much release just about anything on that shit, and you man can just say, yeah, we can make it any price we want, no refunds. As soon as you get it, that's it. And there are people out there who manage their own pages, which is a thing that is sort of a bad thing, because some people can actually delete comments and they can ban people from their pages so that they can't say anything else. Just keeping positive comments so that they can fucking keep that money flowing in, and then they can keep that illusion growing. Which is something that I do sort of appreciate when somebody out there, when they do go out and they do say something negative about some of these Steam creators who do make half-finished games, or they create an early access game, then they sell it for $40, and then it's just one terrain map with a few UDK assets thrown around, and then that's just the end of it. They didn't even switch out the placeholder character. It's just still that fucking robot, and they're using the same goddamn weapons as what you get from the free beta or the free access of that, and then just says, well, give me $60 for it, or give me $40 for it, stuff like that. And apparently, before I go on, this one of the guys out there who goes who pretty much has a stream group called Scam Report, which that he says don't buy terrible games, and honestly, he does have a pretty interesting list of games in which that he doesn't, or at least he thinks that are really bad, and that they sort of can be a problem. The only real fucked up part about that is the fact that some of those games on there is because they may not upgrade as quickly as he wants them to, as I believe it was Kotaku that pretty much pointed this out, and it was this may lead to trustworthy developers being branded as scammers because they haven't been forthcoming or fast enough in their efforts to, well, I'm adding this part, to fix some of the things. And yes, if you do want, the Scam Report channel only has 400 subscribers, and yes, I do understand that is growing slowly. But there's also other channels out there that do the same thing. I do know that Jim Sterling, he does talk about this a lot. And I do know that Total Biscuit, he does actually have he also launched a frame rate, a police stream curator in July that pretty much has quickly grown to over to 100,000 followers plus. So yeah, if you are interested in that, go ahead and follow those or watch the Jimquisition to learn more about one of the craziest fucking things to happen in the world, or at least watch one of the developers pretty much try their hardest to fucking like defend it. Haunting Grounds, Jim Sterling, look that shit up. But yeah, that is what I gotta say about that. Please say what you think about this down in the comment section. Catch you guys on the next Jongravesshow. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games. I'm out.